Jason Kidd. Jason, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mike. How's everything?
Good, thanks. You've been busy readying your plans and everything else. I mean, how's it been getting ready for your first training camp?
It's been great. I got a great staff, and so we spent a lot of time this summer. I've been able to talk and listen to some great coaches, Phil Jackson, Doc Rivers, Pat Riley, and so it's been wonderful. It's been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to this season.
What's the most general piece of advice they eat that kind of? What was the one thread that kind of ran through all their advice? Was there one thing that kind of ran through all their advice that they said to do?
Yeah, be yourself. You have to be yourself, and also be honest, with the players, and all of them that I've talked to have said that you'll enjoy the experience and you'll be good. So hopefully I can live up to what they think I can do.
All right. As a star player and a very heady player and the guy who was the court general, what was the thing a coach would do that would annoy you? Was there something that a coach would do to you or do to the team that you didn't like as a player? Was there something that get under your skin that a coach would do?
Maybe sometimes just call a timeout, when maybe I felt that the players could figure it out.
Okay.
That might be one of the biggest things that stood out.
All right, this is an exciting team. Well, a very exciting roster. A team that could be as good as any team in the league. Bringing in the old Celtics who are old, but obviously still very, very talented, and now meshing them with your group. Which one of the players who is in your core do you think has to make the biggest change in terms of just getting his game to meld with the other players? Is there one player that you see is going to have to make either the biggest transition or give up the most, or do you not see that for one of the players?
No, I think it's a group effort. I think when you talk about the core, we have a mixture of young and wisdom, and so I think this is a great mix, and I think they all will benefit from one another. And I think as a player, they're excited. Darren is excited because he's never been around a veteran group of guys that know how to win and have been battle tested and are leaders. And so I think this is a great time for him, and also for those guys that are a little bit wiser. They got some young guys around them that can play at a high level.
We're talking with Jason Kidd. Obviously, a lot of attention the Nets will get, a lot of interest in a team that has a chance to be a great NBA team this year, and with the additions. When you bring Pierce and Garnett in here, do you want them to be and act just like they would have if they were home with the Celtics, or do they have to back up and maybe let it come to them, or can they lead the same way they would have if people were stepping into their team up in Boston?
They have to be themselves. I look for KG to be, KG. I look at Paul to be Paul. They have to be themselves, and I will hold them accountable, for that, because they changed the identity of this team that, I think last year didn't have one, and now you look at it this year, and it definitely changed its identity, and they know how to win. So I wouldn't ask for them to do anything different if they were players that were going to Boston, or if they were coming now to play with Brooklyn. So I'm excited to have those two, and again, I'm gonna hold them accountable to be themselves.
And obviously, with what they bring now, I mean, Pierce with his ability to make a game-winning shot and is tremendous, one of the best offensive players of all time. I mean, I think underrated, and Garnett, who brings so much in terms of intensity and really defensive accountability to any group. I mean, that's a lot that they both bring, that's for sure.
Yeah, you look at both sides of the floor. Paul is one that can put the ball in the basket, and you look at Garnett on the defensive end. But we're going to focus on the defensive end, and that's what wins championships, and hopefully we can gel here quickly to put ourselves in a position to do that.
How long do you think is a reasonable amount of time for a group like this with a lot of different personalities and some very prominent personalities to gel?
That's a good question. You look at Boston when they made the trade, and they won it the same year. So, that's, for Garnett and Paul to talk about with the guys to understand, it can be done. They did it in Boston. And so, hopefully coming out of training camp that we're all on the same page and we're healthy and going into the season ready to go.
These are guys, now, if you had these guys for 3 years, you treat the beginning of the season and the preseason very differently. You obviously want to see them on the court even in the preseason together so they learn to gel. How about managing minutes with these guys, especially with Garnett and Pierce?
Well, that's something that we'll look at. We've talked about trying to come up with something to, look at their minutes. You look at Boston, they had a lot of injuries last year, and they leaned on Paul and KG to, get them into the playoffs. So, we're built a little bit differently. We're a little bit deeper team. So, for those guys to find time when we don't have to lean on those guys, it's something that we're looking at to do throughout the season, not just early, but also, to be consistent through the season.